exam piece, let's just play the slow movement from the G minor. Do you want to look at your notes and see if you have any questions? Because I feel that we've done it quite comprehensively. And then we can do lots of memory traps and many fast notes. The next one.
You know what I'd really like is some like tonalization for like really good legato exercises.
Other than tonalization?
Yeah, if there's any like trick for really slow, nice with smooth turnarounds.
I would just use tonalization but much slower.
Much slower, okay.
Yeah, let's do that to start with. So let's do 4 beats on each note. So we'll play 3, 4. Next term.
I would love that, yeah.
Okay. I shall put that on the list. In fact, the list is on my phone. Don't want to.
In general, I feel like maybe it's just because I haven't actually processed it myself yet. We talked about that last week. Is that I don't feel like I have as good a grasp on the techniques through the books. I can track them back. But I don't know, I just don't feel as if I've got...
That's partly because we haven't finished the teaching point, so we haven't started doing that book 4 and 5 inclusion of what we were doing last year for 1 to 3.
Cool.
That's kind of inevitably, you have to have the whole picture before you can start that, so, okay. Next term is looking quite full. 8 things to put on there. Right, okay, so, so that we're just not quite seeing just all of your back on the video. Slow bow. Going into second position. to 1. Then guide note. Good. Very slow bow. 3 or 2. Right to the tip, very slow bow. 1, 2, 4. 1. Then guide note. Slow bow. Slow, 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 slow. 2. 1, 1, 2. 2 again. A little bit of plain note at the end of each trill. 2, 2. Sorry, I was a bit slow. Now you stay in second for ages. Just tune it, Joey. Stay in second, you're going to 1 and 2. 6 beats. Breath. Beautiful. More or less. Great. Gorgeous, guys. Well done.
With the last vibrato, do you want it to be relatively
Very narrow.
narrow? Yeah.
Because the G is so sensitive to that.
Resonance.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the proper word, but anyway, that thing that happens. You can make it very wobbly and horrible if you just go for it on the vibrato. So you want really, or even, I mean, they wouldn't have done that. They would not have done that.
Yeah.
So nothing is also fine. And the trick, if you've got this happening, is to tilt the bow, not tilt the bow, make the bow go not parallel to the bridge.
Okay.
But obviously that was yeah, exaggerated, that's the word I'm looking for. Okie dokie, right, good, well done. If you can use that video to practice with, tell me if you can't quite hear what I'm saying and you need me to do one straight up to the camera with all of that information. I think the main thing for you would be to look at your bow speeds, as well as just memorising the fingers and the positions, and just really make sure that you're continually listening and adjusting your intonation if it's not settled.
Thank you.
Good, okay. Third movement, let's go.
Oh, I haven't been
I'm gonna
prioritising this, I'm going to say.
Okay, just follow me at the memory traps. I'll try and get it right. It is fiendish, and it is one of the very few things that I have to really concentrate on the memory for. And you know, I know it really well. I've taught it a lot of times. I've been playing it for decades. It's just one of those ones.
Let me go, Sadie.
No, don't have enough time. Yes.
Make me cry.
Is that okay? And you know, at the moment I've got like
Loads going on.
five students in book 5.
Oh, well
And
done.
I still am finding it so difficult to remember that piece, and that's teaching it for hours every week, you know. So like, really, don't beat yourself up about it. I suspect, contentious thing to say, I suspect that if you put all of the teacher trainers in the world in a room, there'd be quite a lot of them who wouldn't be able to play that off by heart without, you
Even
know,
the teacher
prior
trainers.
warning. Yeah, exactly. So it's just a real kind of mess of different endings and memory traps. And one of the things that I have done, which, if I remember, I will post in the bottom of the YouTube channel, and if you're watching this and I haven't posted it, send me a message on YouTube and I will, is that I actually wrote out, when I was doing this level, all of what, I mean obviously you can't write every memory trap because every bar could potentially be a memory trap, but I've written this out. And when I was memorising it, if I put that on the stand, I could play the whole thing definitely correctly.
Oh,
And then obviously, then you memorise that, and then you're at the stage where. So I will
I'm just going to get my charger.
put that on the Dropbox.
Yeah, I think you did already.
I think I probably did already, yes.
Yeah.
But you know, so basically these are the bars, for me, that are very clearly easy places to take the wrong turn.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing with the shifting as well, is that if you miss a shift, it puts you
Yeah,
off.
you can end up really in the wrong.
And that's where I was like, what, where?
Yeah.
It's too late.
I am coming around to feeling that second position in bar 17 is just needlessly punitive. Not because I don't like second position. There's a there, is that near enough?
Yeah, I'll shove it this way.
Cool.
But it's the sequence of it all, isn't it? Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not making my students do da 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 in third position. You know, that F sharp is just never in tune, and it just sits really nicely under the hand in first position. So I think I'm actually going to get the Tipex out and put it, change it in my part.
What do we call this? Just the Allegro?
Third movement of the Vivaldi G Minor. So, first things first, you need to write in the top of page 23, practice big shift for country dance. That's the preview for country dance. Have you copied in the boxes and tick boxes? Well, there aren't specific tick boxes in this copy. Partly because they're going to be the same. I guess we should probably write them in. Was that a no?
Me is a no.
Joe?
No.
Okay. So what are our tick boxes going to be for this piece?
Memory tone. Upburst staccato.
Not really. Do you just mean like ding, up, those ones? We're not on country dance. We just wrote that you need to preview the shift for country dance on page 23.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah. Like, no.
That's what I just said.
Intonation.
Yeah. Shifting.
Memory is the big one, obviously. If you're going to learn it off by heart, I've said before, and I continue to think that this is reasonable, that I'm not making my book 5 students learn everything off by heart, especially this piece. I mean, you can just end up spending months trying to memorise this. In fact, years, I would say, I probably spent trying to memorise this. And unless they're really keen to play it in a concert without the music, I don't see the need to make them learn every single piece off by heart. Bless you.
Thank you.
But it is useful to talk about those, you know, bits, and so that they would know how to approach learning off by heart if they decided they wanted to. So maybe I'm going to put memory awareness, at least. Because I don't want them if they did do it in a concert, I'm happy for them to do it with the music, but it would be sad if they were glued to the copy so they weren't making any eye contact with their accompanist or the audience.
If we were asked that kind of thing in the exam, would other teacher trainers, is it just safe to like go everyone's learning off by heart idea?
I am sure that nobody would fail if they said to you, how would you approach the memory in this piece? And you said, well, I wouldn't actually ask my students to memorise this in order to move on to the next piece, but this is how I would approach the memory if they were ready to learn it off by heart.
Yeah.
That's a very safe, like the whole credit system that I use is just my thing, it's not the Suzuki teacher training thing. So many people, you know, the idea is that you stay on one piece until it's solid, and then you move on to the next one, but it's not like part of that. There's no list of rules that includes having it off by heart, it being perfectly in tune, you know, it being a certain tempo. These things don't exist, so you know, you are able, as long as you've got a decent set of reasons for doing whatever you want to do, then unless it's completely non-Suzuki, like I don't want the parents in the room because I don't like having them there with the 4-year-olds, obviously that's like a fail kind of answer to a question in an exam, but within the broad remit of Suzuki, there's nothing that you're going to get penalised for saying, unless it just really isn't something you can back up, and obviously you would think about what your reason is before saying it, so that it's not bow speeds.
Bow distribution, bow speed.
Yeah, bow distribution. I mean, mostly that kind of takes care of itself in this piece once you're playing at the right kind of tempo. But it is something, you know, to think about. Boxes, obviously. Tempo.
And style?
Yep.
Big pan?
Big pants?
What did you say?
And style?
Style.
Oh, did you say beg your pardon?
Yeah.
I was like, what did you big pants?
Big pants, I thought.
What would the style be then?
You tell us, lovely Hannah. Yeah, give us some things that would mean that you were playing roughly Baroque style.
Well, the new guy, Jonathan?
Recordings man,
Yeah.
Augustin Hadley.
Yeah.
Jonathan, to his friends, perhaps. Yep. The new guy.
The new guy, he's like quite off the string.
Yeah.
So like light feeling.
Definitely light is one of the key words. Jo, could you give us another word that we would associate with Baroque style? Even in a concerto, you still want to have...
More staccato style, but...
Well, not staccato. Staccato's stopped bows.
Yeah.
So we're thinking much more leggero now rather than staccato, because staccato is like in the string but stopped. Dance-like feel.
Okay.
Energetic, kind of pure, like not very much vibrato. Upper note trills is obviously just a kind of basic technical thing. But you know, if you were going to play real Baroque style, you would think of vibrato being used in the same way as we use trills. We're not doing that, but we don't want to be so far at the other end of the spectrum that we're playing it like high fits kind of thing. So yes, lots of light, energetic, joyful. Let's put joyful, well, or just joy in there. It's got to sound really like you just love this piece. Like, this is one of my favourite moments in my entire teaching career. My student Kai, who was really into violin and wonderful, said about this bit. You don't even have to put that. You don't even have to put that bit in a box, because I just love playing it so much. I'll just do it over and over again every practice.
I love it.
My work here is done. And I think about that every time I play it, and it's so true. It's so lovely to play that bit, especially because you don't have to think about how it goes once you know it, because it doesn't have any weird which ending is it thing. And it's just arpeggios, which after all is like, you know, extensions and string crossings and like broken sixth and all of those things that we get. It's just like, home. Again, I would approach this page by page. You probably want to put shifting in both as your memory for where you're in which position, and also as like making sure that you're not getting that kind of thing. If you are going to teach the fingering that is written in bar 17, you need a box from 15 through to, I would probably just go to 22.
Yeah.
You need shift, that in a box. And again, obviously, you will need more or less boxes depending on who the student is, more or less repetitions depending on how difficult they find it. And, you know, you have to assess, you know, again, we come down to it's so important for you to have at least a basic understanding of how long your students are practicing for, what they're doing each practice, because if you know that your kids in book 5 are practicing for 20 to 30 minutes a day, they're going to get through a lot fewer boxes than someone who's doing 45 minutes to an hour. Neither of those is right or wrong, but you can't just, if you just set the same practice like, oh, this is a 10 box, and these are the boxes that I set, then you're going to see very varied results in terms of the happiness and the motivation that the student has to keep going. Whereas if you know that you've got someone who doesn't practice for very long, but does it every day, or you know that you've got someone who practices very, like, only twice during the week, but does lots of practice on the weekend, you can adjust how you're setting the practice according to those parameters. 79 is a bit of a it's just got a lot of kind of finger dancing around and interesting string crossing, I probably would put that in 5. And then this is hard. And I would add that A flat so that you've got an overlapping box, because finding the A flat that's not just a high 2 is a bit tricky. So that's probably a 10 box, and then the A flat that we just got to up until the top E flat right underneath it on the page. Why is that a box, Joe?
Because you've got lots of shifting and the intonation is really tricky.
Exactly, well done. What could you do, Hannah, to help a student who really is finding this impossible to pitch?
Take it down an octave.
I don't think that would help in this case, because it's not because it's high. I mean, it's a C and then there's an E flat, but I don't think it's the height that makes it. What do you think makes it difficult to pitch, all of this?
The shifting.
I would aim for
Difficult to
the
pitch. If you're thinking about why it's difficult to pitch something, that's not being able to play it in tune up to speed, that's just finding the right notes. When I say being able to pitch it, that's what I mean. So I would say that it's not because of the shifting, because it's like, it's not that we're trying to get them up to speed, it's just literally if they can't find what the notes are supposed to sound
Maybe
like.
there isn't a ringing note in the kind of...
Yeah, exactly. Well done. There are some, but there's loads of accidentals and strange intervals. So we've got A flat to C, which is a major third, which feels like it should be a minor third because it's in the minor section. And then you've got back to that, and then you've got a diminished third, like, you know, A flat to F sharp, enharmonically speaking. Joe, do you know what that means?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
tone.
It's a tone. So that's really weird. They want to go further than they should. And it's got a shift, so they're probably going to go flat there. And then you've got a semitone up, and then minor third, then a major third, and then you're into 4th position, and then a minor third, and then an extension back, and an extension back up for the 1 on the D, and then the 3, well, it's not really an extension back up if you've done a successful extension down. So if this is an extension, this 3 should pretty much still be there. But that's a hard thing for them to do. So, Joe, could you tell us how you would help them make sure that they're actually playing the right notes at whatever really low tempo they're trying it at?
I'll just break it up. Do the shifts first. So the F sharp to the G, and so
Yeah.
that G ringing note,
Yeah, good.
and then from making sure they hit the 3, the E natural, that's a ringing
Good.
note,
Yeah.
making sure they've got tonal fingers, and then again shift to that E.
Yeah. So if they notice, like you have, well done, that those 3 shifts all involve a ringing note, that's going to help a lot because they can check against the open string. Anything tricky, what can we do that is going to make it really helpful for them to check they're doing it right at home?
Video.
So please write video box above that. And the other thing that the teenagers, some of them really like and others find maddening, is to use a tuner. So if you know, like your tuner, the tuning app that you use, the one that has A in it, will also have a one like this. So on any, basically, just gather round, any kind of app like this, you can either, there's always like a thing that you can say that you want it to play something. Now I can't remember how you get to that. Oh yeah, there. So it will play it for you. It will play it for you.
And it remembers what it needs to do.
Come on, why isn't it playing?
So you're asking for the A.
That's weird. I've used it. I haven't obviously used it for ages because I normally just use. Anyway, with most apps there'll be a thing like yours was that it'll go me, and then you can choose that, or you can put it on. Tell me whether my note's right. So if we're talking about this bit here, okay, I'm on an A flat, like no vibrato. Yes. So that's quite fun for lots of them. Others are just like, oh, it's too much like flicking around. They don't like it. But it can be quite fun. And for me, if you try and get that line exactly in the middle on every note, you'll be here for hours. So just if you flick them, if the green is flicked up, even if it then goes, that's enough. When you're at this stage of learning, you're just trying to find where the notes are. You don't have to be in a bullseye because otherwise it's too much.
Yeah.
But that's quite a fun way to do it. It can really help with scales and keys that don't have very many open string notes as well. You know, particularly like the top octave of B flat major, for example. That's got quite a lot of open string notes, but anyway. Alright, now this is the fun part. Bar 105 is the same finger patterns and notes as 101, but in first position. So if you teach them this first, you teach them that, they can all do that. They can all play any B flat major scale. They've been doing it since book 2, and they can play that slowly, easily. And then you say, okay, find this note for me, find this note for me, and do exactly the same thing. Hey presto, they can play fourth position, tricky bit, no worries. So then you put those in the box and they do the second box first. The first position one, bar 105 to 106. Do that 5 times and then do 101. And I would suggest that you add those notes in to get down to the A flat because it's a low 3, it's really a difficult note to find on the shift. If they don't block the 1, they're going to be in trouble in both positions. Yeah? So if they're playing, then obviously that's going to be horrible. So just make sure you do that first. Just flick that green. Yeah, that's what I was going for. Just a flicker, please.
Vibrato.
No.
And then probably they'll need. In a box. There's 5 times or something to those two shifts. Okay, 7 minutes, we're going to do this. Bar 117. Or maybe 16. Go to the extra A flat. And then some of them will need an overlapping box there. And some of them won't.
I've just realised. Can you play that last one again?
Give me a bar number.
21? 121? I've been playing F sharp by accident. And by 125.
Have you?
Yeah. Yeah. No, not that one.
That's lovely.
It was just that high notes.
I love that. You know how book one we do all the sad, like maybe we should do the happy.
No.
Happy G Minor Concerto.
No.
Anyway, right, good. Focus, Kate. Come on. Okay, so smart practice or rhythm practice, whatever words you choose to use. The two bits that catch them out in terms of actual moments are the repeated Fs, just because they haven't had any other repeated notes, and the C sharp, that just needs to be carefully done. And then the string crossing and the shifting is obviously what's tricky about it. Especially check the left elbow's mobile, that they've got the 3 in place before they try and play it. Finger, bow, then go. And then hook, hook, up. Tell me when you're ready to move on.
Just one big box, isn't it?
Yeah, 136 to 144.
I'm ready.
Cool. Okay, so I'm not even going to attempt to play any of this stuff sitting down. Hard needs to be played very slowly and smart practice 10 times for everyone really. This stuff. Feels like when they look at this first, they think, oh my god, it's really hard from 172 to 180, or even 186. It's not. What is hard is 176,
Those 2 bars.
those 3 bars.
Yeah.
So that's reassuring for them. And so let's get violins, and we're just going to talk about how to approach that, because I think this is the only box that doesn't kind of explain itself in terms of how to teach it. So let's just play 172 slowly. That kind of tempo. Okay, good, great. So what you need to do, as you can see in my part, is at the end of the second line, 175, now play open D to then middle D, second position. So to the notes in 176. Good. So you practice that however many times. You don't have to do the whole line above, obviously. You can just practice. So that's essentially your guide note. And then sorry. So I haven't actually written the so shift that tone, put the 4 on as well. And you just do that so that you get that into second position bit sorted out. Are you with me so far? No. 3, 4. Good. What finger pattern are you in, Joe?
Blue?
Nope.
Yellow?
Yeah. Yeah? And then, obviously then it changes because the 3 comes down second time. Shift down. Contract the hand. Pull the 3 down. And then you have best friends there. That 3 is a moment. Yeah, lower 3. Even more. They should be best friends.
I find that tricky to do.
There. Yeah. So once you've got those 2 different parts of the box, perhaps you might even use 2 boxes for your students. It depends how they're doing. You might do that as one box and then find this note. And then do that as a separate box. Or you might just go to 10 times but really, really slowly. But those are the 2 moments that really are what go wrong if you aren't on top of that box. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do the fingering underneath because I just can't get my head around the fingering on the top.
Okay. So absolutely nothing wrong with it, it's just horses for courses.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you'll still need to approach it in the same way because it's still those 2 moments.
Cool.
Are you happy about what to do with that or do you want me to go through it a bit more depth? Let's do it.
Yeah,
So,
let's do it.
obviously the first 2 bars, if you're counting 175 to 176, that's exactly the same as what we just did. And then if you're going to go from here, don't shift, push your 1 higher, really high. That's only a tone between your 3 and your 1. If you're going to do that, so you're in like grey.
Yeah.
Yeah? So, high 1, shift it back to C natural. Better?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, and then that fingering that I do is what's on the top there. Again, it's up to you if you want to do what's underneath. Personally, I don't think your students will thank you for a little bit of second position in that. Especially, I mean, one of the things about this piece, like, I know that when I was watching to become an instructor, like, to become a trainer and I was doing my instructorship, I spent a lot of time observing many hours of teacher training. And it was so interesting to watch different trainers do this piece because there's so many different interpretations of just what you would want out of it as a performance. Like, I was saying, I think it's really joyful and, like, it's so kind of, it's just like really frothy. And then one of the, you know, brilliant people who I respect a lot was saying, like, no, it's like a really, it's kind of triumphant, like quite heavy. And she was asking her students to play sort of, and that puts a completely different spin on what you want eventually. And my students, what we are aiming for together is, very light, very one very fast. And so then if you're going to do that, that is just like really just, you know, just sort of froths them out. It's not, it would just be too much, whereas as soon as you take the tempo down, those accents kind of make sense. So it just really depends what your final aim is, and it may be different for each of your students. So this box, you know, if you're playing at that speed, they probably don't even need it in a box, it's probably fine. They're really good at moving a finger a semitone lower or higher by this stage. And you probably could do a bit of second position if you want, well, it's not really second position, a high one if you wanted to. But if you want it fast, it's definitely going to have to be in a box, and I would recommend the low 3, not the high 1. But that is personal choice. The very weird triplet bar, I really hate the molto writ. Mini poco writ would be much nicer. I mean, that to me is still a molto writ, that's a lot slower.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the recording, I don't actually know about Augustine, but the old recording certainly is.
It's molto. It's definitely molto.
That's hilarious. Anyway, you've got to explain to the students how the timing works, because most of them will just be completely lost. And then I don't have it in a box, but again, it will depend on your student. This 200 to 205 extend into 4th position, but they do have to shift then, and then down.
Yeah.
Great, so please print off the, oh that reminds me, I've got to ask Marcy to get back on the printer. She managed to get the great out the front fixed, which is brilliant. Now we need the printer fixed, and then everything will be marvellous. But do print off this page from the Dropbox about the memory, because I don't really know how anybody memorises this movement without having something like that to kind of think about. Oh, did I even print it out for you? 3 pieces to go in book 5 that we have not done. There are 4 pieces left, but we've done Bob Double. That's very exciting. Yay. Please, over the holidays, put in everything from my copy into yours, so we can do it really quickly after Easter, because June the 27th is going to come around really fast. We do not want to spend the next 3 weeks doing those 3 pieces of teaching points. We need to get them done. In fact, maybe I'll book someone else to come in. Are there any teachers? I'm just going to stop the recording.